Hello friends, this is the fourth part of Standard 8 NCERT book Honeydew, Bepin Choudhary, Lapse of Memory. For part 1, 2 and 3, you just press the I buttons and find my videos there. So, let's start with the fourth part. Before that, don't forget to like and share the videos and subscribe my channel. Next day, in the office, Bipin Babu noticed that with every passing hour, the previous day's encounter was occupying more and more of his mind. If the man knew so much about Bipin Babu, how could he make such a mistake about the Ranchi trip? Means, next day in the office, he kept on thinking after every passing hour. He was thinking about Mr. Parimal Ghosh and the previous day's encounter. It was occupying more and more of his mind. He was trying not to discuss or not to think about that matter, but again and again the thoughts kept coming on to his mind. If man knew so much about Bipin Babu, it was just like next to impossible. Only how can he mistake about Bipin Babu's Ranchi trip? Just before lunch, Bipin Babu decided to ring up Dinesh Mukherjee. It was better to settle the question over the phone. At least the embarrassment on his face wouldn't show. Means, Bipin Babu finally decided that I have to ask Mr. Dinesh Mukherjee. Whatever is there, but it will settle everything and I will get an answer proper. And my problem will be solved. And if I talk on phone, then the embarrassment will not be shown. My face will not be shown. So it will be fine for me. Let's check out the meaning of embarrassment. Like feeling of shyness. Embarrassment means a feeling of self-consciousness. Deliberately somebody is making you feel that yes, something wrong or bad has happened. You are feeling shame or awkwardness. In any odd situation you are put, then you will feel the awkwardness. Yes. Then 235616. Bipin Babu dialed the number of Dinesh Mukherjee. Hello, is that Dinesh? This is Bipin here. Well, what's the news? Dinesh Mukherjee asked him. Bipin Babu, yes, okay, what's the news? I just wanted to find out if you recalled an incident which took place in 58. Simple, directly he asked Mr. Dinesh Mukherjee that I wanted to find out about an incident which took place in 58. 58? What incident? Were you in Calcutta right through that year? That's the first thing I've got to know. Wait just a minute. 58. Just let me check in my diary. For a minute there was silence. Bipin Babu could feel that his heartbeat had gone up. He was sweating a little. Hello. Yes, I have got it. I had been out twice. Where? Once in February nearby to Krishnanagar to a new view's wedding, and then, but you would know about this one. The trip to Ranchi, you were there too. That's all. But what's all this sleuthing about? So here what happened? When Bipin Babu asked Mr. Dinesh Mukherjee that what incident had happened, were you there in Calcutta through the whole year? Then that other person, Mr. Dinesh Mukherjee, he just checked out his diary and he said that first let me check my diary. And meanwhile he was checking diary, Bipin Babu was perspiring, sweating, and his heartbeat also had gone up. His heart was beating faster and faster. Then Mr. Dinesh Mukherjee informed him that yes, I went twice outside of Calcutta in that year 1958. He must be noting all these things in his diary. So exactly where? Then he informed that once in February I went to Krishnanagar for a nephew's wedding, and then second time, oh, but that time, Bipin Babu, you must be knowing already because you were also there when I went to Ranchi, when I had the trip to Ranchi. You were also there in Ranchi. But what's this sleuthing about? Sleuthing means investigating like the CBI officer. Why you are doing so much of investigation? No, I just wanted to. Anyway, thanks. Then Bipin Babu slammed the receiver down and gripped his head with his hands. He felt his head swimming. A chill went down, seemed to spread over his body. There were sandwiches in his tiffin box, but he didn't eat them. He had lost his appetite. He just threw the receiver, pushed hard the receiver down and gripped. He held the head with his hand. He felt that his head was swimming, that is spinning round, and his body felt chilled. He was very, very scared that something had happened to him. How could he forget his trip to Ranchi? Now even Dinesh Mukherjee has confirmed that he had already been to Ranchi. Then how was it possible that he could not remember that portion of his life? So he had sandwiches in his tiffin box, but this matter had killed his appetite. He was feeling that he had lost his appetite. He did not feel like having food. After lunchtime, Bipin Babu realized that he couldn't possibly carry on sitting at his desk and working. This had never happened in the 25 years he had been with the firm. He had a reputation for being a tireless, conscientious worker, but today his head was in a wall. So, when he had after lunchtime in office, after the lunchtime, he realized that it was very impossible, nearly impossible for him to do the work, to carry on his work sitting at his desk in the office. So he was working there, but his mind was not stable in the work. He could not concentrate. So this has never happened with him. So why? So for 25 years he worked so hard. He had the reputation of being a very sincere and hard-working worker. In his office, his reputation, his credit was good. He was a tireless, conscientious worker. Conscientious, children. Conscientious means, see here, the meaning of conscientious: careful and correct worker. One who never does any mistakes in his work. Very carefully he does his work. But today his head was in a wall. Head was in a wall. Wall means head was rotating. He was confused and unable to think anything clearly. Back home at 2:30, Bipin Babu lay down in bed and tried to gather his wits together. He knew that it was possible to lose one's memory through an injury in the head. But he didn't know of a single instance of someone remembering everything except one particular incident, and a fairly recent and significant one at that. He had always wanted to go to Ranchi, to have gone there, done things, and not to remember something utterly impossible. He came home at 2:30. Means that day he must have came home earlier than usual because of his condition, mental condition. He lay down in bed. He tried to relax, but he couldn't relax. and he tried to gather his wits together to become calm at mind. He wanted to be at ease and make himself comfortable, but he couldn't. Try to gather his wits together means to make an effort to become calm and think clearly. Yes, he already had the idea that, as shown in the movies many a times, that if we have a hit in the head, then injury may happen, or it's likely that we forget things. But here, without anything like that happened, how could he forget a particular incident of his life? And not only forget, it was fairly recent. It was only 6 to 7 years back, and an important one. Means always he wanted that I should go to Ranchi. He always wanted to visit Ranchi, and having visited Ranchi and met people, done many things, gone to many places, but still he was not able to remember a single thing about Ranchi, a single person, a single place, or anything. He was not able to know or recall about Ranchi. At 7:30, Bepin Babu's servant came and announced, "Chuni Babu sir says it's very important." Bepin Babu knew what Chuni had come for. Chunilal had been at school with him. He had been having a rough time lately and had been coming to see him about a job. Bepin Babu knew it was not possible to do anything for him, and in fact told him so. But Chunilal kept turning up like a bad penny. At 7:30, what happened, children? His servant came, and his servant informed him and announced. Means he informed that a guest is there, and the guest name was Chunilal. And Chunilal wished to meet Bepin Babu. As further story goes, Chunilal and Bepin Babu were very close and school friends. Chunilal was seeing a bad phase of time, maybe some lack of job, lack of money, so he kept on coming to seek help from Bepin Babu, his friend. He came again and again to ask for some good job to manage his expenses, but Bepin Babu had already told him that he will not be able to help. Bepin Babu told Chunilal that I won't be able to help you in anything. But still, Chunilal had hopes, and he kept coming again and again. So here it is said that he kept turning up like a bad penny. Here see, kept turning up like a bad penny. Kept turning up like a bad penny means as our coin or rupee is not new or fine, or it is not properly visible, like khota sikka. So it keeps on returning to us. To whoever we give, that person will see properly and that person will return to us. So it's not okay. Then we have to take it back. So our bad penny always comes back to us. Our bad paisa, it comes back to us. So his friend also kept turning again and again back to him like a bad penny. Now for the further moving on, Bepin Babu sent word that not only was it not possible for him to see Chuni now, but not in several weeks. But as soon as the servant stepped out of the room, it struck Bepin Babu that Chuni might remember something about the 58 trip. There was no harm in asking him. Then Bepin Babu told his servant that you just go and say that I will not be able to meet him today. Not even today, not even just now, but in few weeks I won't be able to meet him, because Bepin Babu already knew that what Chuni had come for. And as we know, Bepin Babu was not in that state of mind that he could listen to Chuni's request. So, when the servant was going to call to inform Chuni, then Bepin Babu hurried down the stairs. He came down the stairs because he thought that Chuni Lal must have remembered something about the trip to Ranchi. So, he thought that he could easily ask Chuni Lal about the trip to Ranchi. He must be definitely remembering about that. Bepin Babu hurried down the stairs into the living room. Chuni was about to leave, but seeing Bepin Babu appear, he turned round hopefully. Bepin Babu came down the stairs and then into the room. Chuni Lal had already received the message of a servant by Bepin Babu. With the message which Bepin Babu gave, he was about to leave the house, but as he saw Bepin Babu, he turned round hopefully. He had hopes that okay, maybe Bepin Babu had changed his mind. Maybe Bepin Babu wished to help me and now he is ready to help me. Bepin Babu didn't beat about the bush. Listen, Chuni, I want to ask you something. You have a good memory and you have been seeing me off and on for a long time. Just throw your mind back and tell me, did I go to Ranchi in 58? Chuni said, 58. It must have been 58. Or was it 59? Now, Bepin Babu didn't beat around the bush. Beat around the bush means, beat about the bush means, see here, that he was not telling anything extra. He was not making any formal introduction or like. He came straight to the point. He didn't beat about the bush. That is, coming straight to the point and asking straightforward without making any other excuses or talks. He asked Chuni directly that you know anything, you have a very good memory. I want to ask you about Ranchi trip. Whether I had been to Ranchi in 58. So Chuni also agrees immediately. Yes, 58, maybe 59, but you surely went to Ranchi. So it was confirmed by Chuni Lal that Bepin Babu went to Ranchi.